I've never been more proud of the members on this floor and how you came together on this set of rules and how seriously you're taking your responsibilities. I'm proud of.
Conflicts of interest, gag orders, and witnesses. The Texas Senate has set the rules for the impeachment trial of suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton. Thanks for joining us. I'm Karina Kling. Paxton is accused of obstruction of justice, bribery, and abuse of office. His impeachment trial is set to begin September 5th, and he will be required to attend. Our Charlotte Scott has more on how the process will work and what the rules could signal for the outcome of this case.
And the citizens of Texas can count on the Senate of Texas to have a fair and just trial.
A promise from Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He'll be presiding over the impeachment trial of suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton, which is set to begin September 5th. Senators will be jurors, although this isn't a typical jury.
They're way more familiar with the subject matter than a typical jury ever would be. And that doesn't necessarily affect the rules on their face, but it is going to affect how the rules are applied.
One rule allows Paxton's wife, Senator Angela Paxton, to sit in on the trial, but she cannot vote on any matter. Because of this, it'll take 21 votes to achieve a 2/3 majority to convict Paxton on any article of impeachment instead of 20. If all Democrats vote to convict, 9 Republicans would have to join them. Dallas appellate lawyer David Cole says how that will impact the outcome remains to be seen.
You know, that's material, not necessarily outcome determinative, but it is a significant part of the picture in how you put this case together for trial.
The rules outlined by the Senate allow for witnesses, which is something Paxton's team didn't want. Each side will get 24 hours to present evidence.
Clearly, the danger here for Mr. Paxton is new witnesses, new evidence, and new charges.
Paxton's attorney Tony Busby says we look forward to proving every count of this sham impeachment is baseless. The rules also say the senators cannot comment on the proceedings. The lieutenant governor can also appoint someone to preside over the trial as long as they're not running for re-election next year.
By not having somebody who's running in 2024, you absolve them from the voters' wrath if they're unhappy with the decision.
Austin Democrat Sarah Eckhart was one of 3 who voted against the rules. She said it's disturbing that there's a, quote, unprecedented ability of the defense to win a dismissal of an article of impeachment by a simple majority vote.
I didn't find that objection particularly compelling. I mean, I think in a typical trial setting, a judge can and often does take a claim out of the case if the judge concludes there's no legal foundation for it.
Representative Andrew Murr led the House investigation into Paxton. Murr said in a statement that the rules adoption process demonstrated that the Texas Senate respects the seriousness of this matter and the importance of a fair impeachment trial. The House legal team also says the rules provide a fair trial for both sides, and they look forward to presenting their case.
The rules cover all the bases that you would expect a set of procedural and evidentiary rules for trial to cover. There's no obvious tilt one way or another.
If Paxton is convicted on any article of impeachment, the Senate could also vote to remove him permanently from office. For Capitol Tonight, I'm Charlotte Scott.
With us now to discuss these rules further is Michael Ahrens. He's a law professor at St. Mary's University School of Law and specializes in constitutional law, and also wrote a book on the legal history of Texas. Professor Ahrens, welcome back to the program. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
What is your take on how these rules will affect the trial? I mean, do you think this will work in a nonpartisan way?
No, but I don't think rules with regard to any impeachment, are intended to be non-partial from a political partisanship perspective. I will say that having read the rules, they were really written by lawyers because there's a lot of lawyer talk, and my general view is that they're trying to craft a set of rules that will allow both sides to make their best arguments. So I think they are really trying to make this look more rather than less like a kind of case that you would find in the local courts.
I mean, Paxton does have to appear according to these rules. I mean, how do you think that changes things? What do you think that signals in terms of the trial itself?
Good question. I think it could signal either that they want him there so that he has to listen to all the charges and evidence offered against him, or I think they want him there maybe to humanize him. And so I don't know exactly, but it could be for either purpose, or it simply could be a third purpose, which just came to mind, is that it might simply be a way of communicating to the broader people. Yes, he's the suspended Attorney General, so he has a high office, but he's subject to law just like everyone else.
You were speaking to this a little bit earlier, but I mean, how would this be different in a regular trial versus what we are about to see in this Senate impeachment trial?
Well, you have 30 senators, because Mrs. Paxton is not going to be eligible to vote, who will decide on issues of motions, answers, evidentiary issues. You don't just have one judge who makes that decision. And that's the biggest change. It's going to be very interesting to see how the members of the Senate work together in terms of dealing with the kinds of legal issues that may arise, or at least the legal-ish issues that may arise in this particular impeachment trial.
What is your take on Senator Angela Paxton not being able to vote? She'll be able to attend, as mentioned, but not be able to vote.
You know, I understand her argument that she represents some constituents and therefore she should vote. But I do think that the Texas Constitution, as noted by the committee that put together these rules, requires a kind of impartiality that she's just not able to provide as a spouse. I don't think that I would be impartial at all if my spouse were on trial or had been impeached and was now going to trial. So yeah. I think in the end they got it right, but I understand her argument.
We just have about 30 seconds left, but how long do you think this trial will last, given what we've seen with the rules and what we know?
So it's possible that it could end very quickly, because there are motions that may be filed to end this, and if the vote is such that the senators want to end it, they can end it right away. Given the time constraints that they've listed, it looks like it'll last somewhere, if it goes all the way to the end, about 3 weeks long.
Professor Michael Ahrens, we will keep you on standby and ask you more questions as this trial gets underway. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. And for more refreshing stories about your community, click the subscribe button right over here. You can also download our Spectrum News app to get live news coverage, weather alerts, and more wherever you are. And don't forget to tune in to Channel 55 on Dish and DirecTV for live local reporting every single day. We'll see you then.